start.
So do we look at the camera or you?
No, you look at Simon.
Okay.
So, Rolling,
Yeah, you guys look Well, we are here because we had a unique opportunity to train over 1,000 PhD candidates at the TU Delft, which was marvelous, I think, because we could train like the brightest minds of our generation for 2 years. It wasn't easy. We really had to discover what these people are like, these PhD candidates. Eventually, it became the best evaluated PhD training program in years. And so the TU Delft asked us to tell you what we've learned.
Exactly, and instead of telling that ourselves to you, we have asked colleagues of yours, PhD candidates, supervisors and so forth, to share their experiences to the viewers, and that's what we would like to do right now.
Yep, so here's a documentary about PhD candidates and what they are like, and how they might or should be coached.
A bit of an idiot, I guess, in some ways, because for doing the same work in industry, you get paid 50% more.
A scholar who is interested in exploring new directions, learning new things, and developing the skills they need to be able to research and direct their own line of study.
Sometimes in my country, especially female PhDs, we are considered to be the third gender.
A curious person that tries to add knowledge and push the edge of the state of the art.
Structured, confused, autonomous, and ambitious.
They are a different species. They are a different species. They walk differently, they think differently, they look at the world in a different way.
I've been asked before, what is a typical PhD candidate? There is none.
Is really passionate about his own research and sometimes can only talk about his own research.
Yeah.
The definition of a supervisor of PhD candidates is an individual who has formulated a scientific question but is guiding a PhD candidate to work towards answering that question.
Someone who is willing to put aside his own ideas about content in order to help the PhD to develop his own ideas.
The person I would say inspires all of us would be Leo Kabelhoven, our supervisor, who is a very famous quantum physicist.
He has so much experience and so much knowledge that he can really help you pinpoint what's important, what's not, and just keep going in the right direction.
Yeah, when a PhD student comes into the lab, he was usually one of the smartest students of his class, but he is not independent. And what I have to do then is to learn how to be an independent researcher.
There's so many paths that open up. That's at least my experience. My experience, it's not as much being lost, it's more being lost for making the right choices and having too many opportunities and figuring out where to go.
The biggest challenge for my PhD is, I've told you, I have to learn to be independent and to be critical.
They have to tackle many things, not just technical, but also time management is yet another issue. The right kind of courses, right kind of training that they should go through to build their own capacities so that they are strong enough to go through the PhD process.
When I started, I had to make a planning for 4 years, and that's really weird. I never thought 4 years ahead actually in my life before.
After 4 years' time, what are you expected to deliver? So there are some numbers that you're being given. You should have that many pages, you should have that many journal papers, but what makes a good journal paper? What is a good contribution? What is a sound thesis, and what volume should, how big should it be?
You will face a lot of problems which you have to find solution by yourself. Okay, it's like a collaboration between you and your supervisor and other people, but in the end, you are the person who have to find a solution for the problems.
It often happens that, for example, in the third years, they get lost. Yeah, some don't have any motivation anymore, or some just are going to the wrong direction. Some are very stubborn. Yeah, so we had several people that were very stubborn and said, we want to do this, and I said, there's no way. Yeah, and then it was really a clash. And that is my biggest challenge, to keep them on track and say this is how research in universities is.
Yeah, every day I feel self-doubt and stress, but that's something which I think you will experience as you're kind of moving up and getting better.
If you supervise too much, they don't become independent. And if you don't supervise enough, then they don't become researchers.
Especially in the beginning, because you don't know anything, you're going to depend a lot on other people, and the challenge is to know when to let go and to start exploring your own path.
I think it's a delicate balance between how much autonomy does the student have and how much kind of active guidance does the professor give to a student.
You should always be available to them, but you shouldn't try to steer them in a certain direction.
The student should come and describe what they just finished doing, what they think about it, what they think it means, and then they suggest what to do next. And at that point, I think, is the point where the professor can give their opinion.
You kind of give an idea of what you think might be the best, and all they need to do is to say, okay, we agree, or maybe it's better to do this and that. But yeah, for me it's really reassuring if they confirm that my suggestions are the good path or the good way to do it.
You get out what you put in. And here there's a real feeling that, okay, if you get out what you put in, you should put in as much as you can.
See people have meetings at 1 o'clock in the morning, when you get emails from your supervisors at like 4 in the morning, when we ourselves stay up all night. I don't necessarily think it's healthy behavior, but I think that as adults and young researchers, it's a choice you make as to how you spend your time and what you focus on in your life to get what you want out of your own life.
Success is just 10% of talent and 90% of hard working. I have enough time during my PhD. I have 4 years, so okay, I'm going for 90% hard working.
But you shouldn't forget that you should never ask a PhD candidate on a party when he's going to finish his PhD.
Mixing questions related to work at leisure moments.
Another difficulty, I think, is letting go of work and just say, okay, now I'm home and I don't have to answer to emails and I don't have to read more articles. That is really a difficulty.
Training to have good time management.
Time management.
Time management.
Time management seems like an automatic reflex for PhD candidates. Everything is new to them and they think that by planning they can gain control over their candidacy. We really believe that's not true. Planning can help a bit, but the actual thing they have to work on is dealing with autonomy, dealing with not knowing what to do, knowing what kind of people you can approach, knowing what you're good at, so you can actually use that to gain momentum. So time management, I think, is more a reflex than actually a solution. It's about gaining autonomy.
Fun? You mean hobby, fun?
Are you sure you wanna? Okay.
Fun is when it works.
I don't know. Fun is nothing.
Fun is something which I don't know what it is. Can I do it again? Okay.
Animals, rabbits.
There's nothing better than just looking at your measurement and it's coming out exactly the way you want.
Babies, hanging out with friends, family.
Fun is the moment that you receive acceptance of a poster or a paper or the final defense.
Christmas presents and food.
Yeah, fun. That's a difficult one. We see that PhD candidates really maintain a strict line between their professional life, which is very serious. It's about results, it's about hard work. It's almost machine-like sometimes. Versus the human side, which is fun, psychology plays a part, social relationships, etc., etc. Leisure. And one of the important things we try to teach them in the program is you actually need your human qualities, your ability to make relationships, your abilities to laugh, your abilities to show what you feel like. You really have to use that also in a professional context at TU Delft. Otherwise you won't make it. So you really have to make that connection even though it's hard.
Yeah, several years ago we had a riot in our lab. Yeah, so we had some 40, 50 PhDs and they said we stop working, yeah, because we are just regarded as scientific paper production machines or research automata. Yeah, they no one ever asks us for our person, yeah, who we are, what drives us, what our problems are living here in Holland.
I lost my bicycle because I didn't know where I put it. There was hundreds of bicycles there and I didn't know which one was mine.
The thing that surprised me the most about TU Delft upon my arrival would be the size of the sheer place. It just makes you feel smaller, I would say.
Yeah.
Of course, I miss my home. You need to be able to deal with this loneliness, especially when you encounter all the difficulties in your research. That is very difficult, I would say, at the beginning.
There's a lot of international students and they all have their different ways of thinking and approaching their problems. So talking to them and having lunch with them, it's really gives you an insight to different thinking ways of solving the PhD problems. So
if there's one thing that I think people could change in academic life is to have maybe a better understanding of the mental health issues that people face, because I know from working in my previous universities and some of my previous supervisors, they generally didn't treat or sympathize with people who may be having a tough time or were stressed.
Any social event that I have the chance to speak with someone who's a bit ahead of me, that really teaches me how to create this balance.
One way of looking at PhD candidates is looking at humans that are being lost and need proper guidance. In the beginning of a PhD candidate, you cannot give them very concrete things to hold on to, like results or a method or an hypothesis. So you need to give them something else. And something you can give them is let them know themselves so they can hold on to what their qualities are. That's the thing they can hold on to. Let them know what their pitfalls are. So that's the thing they can work on. And let them work on relationships. Let them make a network and help them with it. Because that's something that gives them safety. That's something that gives them guidance in the first phase of a PhD candidacy. And they can learn it.
The social interaction between PhDs is very important. So our secretaries went to IKEA and bought several couches recently and a wooden table with wooden chairs. And when they come into the lab, as a new PhD, they get friends quickly by playing football or by just interacting and by relaxing.
Maybe even the coffee break. If you're just relaxing with a cup of coffee, talking to your colleagues about your research.
Yeah. The really trick as a supervisor is to try to nurture the autonomy and to allow the autonomy and even to nurture it, but also to be aware that you can be very vulnerable.
I try to see my supervisors as having been through this process as well. So try to see them as human beings as much as possible, and also observing colleagues. That's for me the key.
What you should remember is that we haven't done it before. It's our first time doing a PhD, and there are a lot of questions that we might ask that might seem trivial for somebody who has worked in the field and has experience in research.
Well, PhD candidates are mainly focused on the research, so they are really introvert, I would say, and a course that would help to bring out the extrovert from this person or to open these people up would really help.
I think you absolutely need to see them as really the same as yourself, but just with less experience.
Well, something I noticed the last few years is that it has been a long time since I did my own PhD. And in the beginning I still could feel what it meant to do a PhD, but now it is farther away. And I think it is important to have some idea what it means to be in that position. To personally criticize them or to attack them as a person, suggesting that they're not making an effort.
Change his mind too often, so be inconsistent week to week, because a PhD student needs some guidance in where the project has to go.
Not to treat them on the one hand as students and then on the other hand as autonomous researchers. So be consistent with that.
To discourage him or her on his or her initiatives.
To write yourself their PhD.
To doubt his or her own capacities to do a PhD.
Lose faith within the PhD candidate, and very quickly, that is.
To only criticize their work and never give any positive feedback.
Try to steer them in a certain direction.
When you guide a PhD candidate, you should always be supportive and positive. Say positive sentences, positive things and always supportive.
To give them confidence, but also to show your own vulnerabilities as a supervisor.
To help them see the importance of their work.
Read their work. So they give you a lot of papers, a lot of paperwork, and it is a lot of work and a lot of time you need to read all the work carefully, but you have to do it.
It's all well and good to have a good professional relationship, you know, like as long because that gets the work done. But I think it's also you should be able to talk to people.
Yeah, what I will never forget in guiding PhD candidates is their personal questions. Yeah, they sometimes regard you as a father. So I had a girl who asked advice for the husband that was proposed to her, and also about another PhD student who got a child, how to deal with that. So a lot of personal questions, a lot of things that they need guidance from kind of father figure.
Thing that moves me most out of the working with PhD candidates, it's something that I don't see, that it only happens 6 months or 1 year later, is when they do the, aha, now I got it.
What I found in general very moving or very motivating also for myself, if I see that I can help the candidate to do better for himself, but also that he or she really becomes enthusiastic and begins to like to do the research.
Very good,
Very well done.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Super.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Question one?
Okay, so thank you for watching this documentary. We hope that you've had some new inspiration and new insights to put into practice in your own professional life.
Yeah, it was a great adventure for us, and we hope the adventure continues a bit. So please let us know your own experience as a PhD candidate, or react to this documentary as a supervisor or mentor. Email us, for instance. We're really happy to hear from you.
Yes.